They looked small, almost harmless, but once the light turned green, these featherweight assassins shredded giants. Built to bend rules and dominate strips, they proved lighter meant faster. Let's dive into the 1970 quarter-mile underdogs that made Detroit's heavy hitters look clumsy. The first shock? A Nova with Yenko's deadly touch. Top 1, 1970 Chevrolet Nova Yenko Deuce. To most, a Chevrolet Nova was a compact grocery getter, not a street missile, yet in 1970, Don Yenko quietly turned that forgettable shell into a quarter-mile monster. Few knew it existed, but those who did knew its name. Yenko Deuce. The Nova body was short and plain boxy lines, minimal trim, basic chrome bumpers. Few sported racing stripes or air dams. Inside, buyers found a modest dashboard, vinyl seats, factory gauges, and a floor mount shifter if ordered right. It looked pedestrian until you opened the hood. Yenko special cars, arranged with Chevrolet's SOPO system, allowed the installation of the muscle-bound LT1 350 cubic inch V8. To unsuspecting eyes, it was still a plain Nova. To insiders, it was a drag strip sleeper. The heart of the Deuce was the LT1 small block, rated at 360 gross horsepower, a staggering figure for 1970 factory output. Matching it was a close ratio 4-speed and heavy-duty suspension. But here's the rarity bomb. Only 175 Yenko Deuce Novas were ever produced under Copo 9010. Its combination of light curb weight, 3,100 PLs, racer tuning, and street legality made it one of the fastest factory cars of its era. When one surfaced at auction years later, bidding exploded, proving its legend was no exaggeration. Performance-wise, numbers don't lie. 0 to 60 miles per hour in roughly 6 seconds, and quarter-mile sprints in the 13.7 seconds range at around 104 miles per hour, numbers that outpaced many Ferrari Daytonas of the day. The Deuce proved you didn't need a big body or flashy design to dominate, just power, lightweight, and strategic execution. Today, these cars are revered. Clean, original Yenko Novas fetch upwards of $250,000 to $300,000, setting a benchmark for what rare, lightweight performance can cost when history decides. The Yenko Deuce made believers out of doubters, proving compact Camaro adjacent bodies could hide serious fury. But, while Chevrolet snuck power into a Nova shell, Pontiac would soon prove it could do the same with its own compact, but in a way no one expected. Tell 2, 1970 Chevrolet Camaro Z28. It didn't roar with a 454 or a Hemi, yet the 1970 Camaro Z28 earned respect at the Strip by being deceptively lethal. To the casual eye, it was just another F-body coupe, but beneath its sharper lines and low stance lay one of the best balanced quarter-mile killers of its time. The 1970 Z28 debuted with a second-generation Camaro body, sleeker than its predecessor, with a longer hood, fastback profile, and subtle ducktail spoiler. Inside, buyers found high-back bucket seats, a deep-set gauge cluster, and floor shifter angled perfectly toward the driver. It wasn't flashy. This was form following function. Power came from the new LT1 350 cubic inch small block, delivering 360 horsepower and 380 pound-feet of torque. Mated to a close ratio 4-speed Muncie gearbox and optional 4.1 posit traction rear, the Z28 was all about precision. Its suspension, heavy-duty springs, quick ratio steering, and thicker sway bar cerned every launch into a perfectly balanced strike. Weighing just over 3,400 pounds, it didn't rely on brute size but finesse. The real shock? For under $3,600, you had a car that could run the quarter mile in the low 14s, sometimes dipping into the 13.8s with sticky tires. At a time when big block monsters were sucking fuel and demanding premium insurance rates, the Z28 slipped under the radar as a budget-friendly assassin. Only 8,733 units were built in 1970, making it rare compared to mass-market Camaros, yet still affordable enough for determined drag racers. Today, while modern supercars flaunt tech and carbon fiber, a clean Z28 still commands $70,000 to $90,000, far beyond its humble beginning. This car redefined the muscle formula: smaller displacement, higher revs, and razor-sharp handling. It proved you didn't need the heaviest block to dominate. The Z28 became the secret weapon for drivers who valued control over chaos, and decades later, Its LT1 motor is still whispered about in racing circles as one of Chevy's finest. And yet, the Camaro wasn't alone in rewriting quarter-mile expectations. Another lightweight, track-inspired monster emerged the very same year, painted in wild stripes and ready to shred asphalt under the Plymouth banner. Top 3. 1970 Plymouth Cuda AAR. Most people expected the Cuda to flex only as a street bruiser, but the 1970 AAR was something else entirely, a factory-built racer disguised as a showroom coupe. Born out of the SCCA Trans Am series, it carried DNA straight from the track into the quarter mile. Externally, the AAR stood out with its blacked-out fiberglass hood, functional scoop, side exit exhausts, bold strobe stripes, and ducktail spoiler. Sitting slightly nose-up on staggered Goodyear polyglass tires, it looked aggressive even at idle. Inside, it kept things minimal yet purposeful. Bucket seats, rally gauges, and a pistol-grip shifter, signaling this wasn't a luxury cruiser. Powering it was Chrysler's 340 cubic inch V8, topped with a trio of Holley two-barrel carbs famously dubbed the six-pack. Rated at 290 horsepower, it was widely known to be underrated, pushing closer to 315 horses. With lightweight construction, just over 3,400 pounds, and a heavy-duty suspension tuned for both corners and drag launches, the AAR was a dual threat. What shocked enthusiasts was how quickly this small block Mopar ran the strip. Independent tests clocked it at 14.1 seconds in the quarter mile, nearly keeping pace with heavier big block muscle. And because it was built as a homologation special, production was limited. Just 2,724 units were made in 1970, making every surviving AAR a sought-after rarity today. Its handling agility, combined with its drag strip punch, meant owners got a car that embarrassed bigger, pricier competitors, both around corners and in straight-linal runs. The AAR proved that muscle wasn't about size alone, it was about balance, engineering, and intent. While insurance companies were already strangling big block performance, Plymouth offered a loophole, a factory hot rod that still met regulations yet felt like a track car for the street. Today, collectors prize the AAR not just for its rarity, but for its authenticity. It was built for racing first, image second. Values now push $100,000+ for restored examples, a far cry from its original sticker price, hovering around $3,800. But Chrysler wasn't finished. If the AAR taught competitors that light and small could still dominate, Dodge's answer came cloaked in bold graphics and an equally radical approach, one that would fire up every stoplight showdown in 1970. Top 4. 1970 Dodge Challenger T.A. Dodge never wanted to play second fiddle. When Plymouth rolled out the AAR Cuda, Dodge countered with the Challenger T.A. car that looked like a flashy boulevard cruiser but secretly carried the venom of a purebred drag strip predator. From the outside, the T.A. screamed aggression. It wore a matte black fiberglass hood with a snorkel scoop, bold side stripes with TA callouts, a ducktail rear spoiler, and side exit exhausts that spat fire. Raised in the rear with staggered E60 and G60 Goodyear polyglass tires, its stance alone told you this wasn't just decoration. Inside, it kept Dodge's muscle formula intact. High-back vinyl bucket seats, rally instrument cluster, pistol grip shifter, and just enough trim to remind you it was still a street car, not a stripped racer. Under that hood lived Chrysler's 346-pack V8, the same triple-carb small block found in the AAR. Factory rated at 290 horsepower but delivering closer to 320 in real life, it came with heavy-duty internals, free-flowing exhaust, and a quick 3.911 rear gear ratio. Weighing about 3,400 pounds, the Challenger TA carried just enough muscle-to-weight advantage to make its mark. Despite being a junior compared to Dodge's big block Hemis, the Challenger TA stunned crowds with quarter-mile blasts in the 14.2 range. Even more impressive, it wasn't just a drag car. Designed as a Trans Am homologation special, the TA featured a quicker steering ratio, upgraded suspension geometry, and front disc brakes, giving Dodge something it rarely had in the late 60s, real cornering bite. And because it was a one-year-only special, production stopped at just 2,399 units, cementing its rarity. What Dodge sold was dual personality, a wild graphic package for the boulevard and a legitimate track weapon hiding beneath. Insurance adjusters saw 340 and let it slide, while owners discovered they'd bought a small block car that could run with the big dogs. Today, values soar past $90,000 for pristine examples, making the Challenger TA one of Dodge's smartest plays in the golden era of muscle. But not every lightweight warrior came draped in stripes and spoilers. Oldsmobile had a very different philosophy, one that traded flash for subtle menace, and it delivered a cutlass that could sting rivals where they least expected. Top 5, 1970, Oldsmobile Cutlass, W31. On the surface, the Oldsmobile Cutlass was your father's respectable, cruiser-clean lines, chrome trim, and middle-class manners. But the W31 package flipped that polite image on its head, creating a small block assassin that could ambush far pricier muscle machines. Externally, the W31 didn't shout for attention like a Judge or a Superbird. It kept its lines restrained, with only discreet callouts, optional hood stripes, and rally wheels giving away its intent. Inside, it leaned more toward comfort than flash: cloth and vinyl bench or bucket seats, wood-grain dash inserts, and Oldsmobile's classic sports steering wheel. It was still a Cutlass at heart, just one with a very short fuse. Underneath the understated shell lived the heart of a brawler. The 350 Ci Rocket V8, engineered specifically for the W31, came with a hotter camshaft, high compression pistons, special carb calibration, and free-breathing heads. Officially, Olds rated it at 325 horsepower, but enthusiasts knew it pulled harder, especially above 4,000 RPM. Coupled with 4.33 gears, a close-ratio Muncie 4-speed, and mandatory heavy-duty suspension, the W31 was built to scream down the quarter mile, not to loaf down the boulevard. Despite lacking the cubes of big block monsters, the W31 regularly clocked low 14-second quarter miles, sometimes dipping into the 13s with slicks. Its secret wasn't brute torque. It was balance. The lighter, small block up front gave the Cutlass sharper weight distribution, making it one of the most responsive muscle cars of its day. And because Oldsmobile produced only 1,129 W31s in 1970, most people never even saw one outside of drag strips or dealer lots. What seemed like a junior Olds actually became one of the division's fiercest competitors. Buyers discovered they had a car that blended understated looks, comfortable cruising, and the ability to embarrass big block Chevelles at the lights. Today, collectors recognize it as one of the best-kept secrets of the muscle era, and surviving W31s command prices well into six figures. But if Oldsmobile's subtle rocket proved brains could outwit brawn, Dodge answered with a devilish machine whose very name promised Chausa demon that stalked the quarter mile with fire in its eyes. Top 6, 1971 Dodge Demon 340. It carried one of the most controversial names in Detroit history. Demon Dodge didn't just build a muscle car, it rolled out a street-legal provocation, complete with cartoon devil graphics, daring anyone to line up beside it at the strip. On the outside, the Demon looked like a tweaked Dart with attitude. Its compact A-body platform gave it a lightweight stance, while unique Demon decals, dual hood scoops, optional rear spoiler, and rally wheels let you know this wasn't Grandma's grocery getter. Inside, Dodge kept it simple but effective: high-back bucket seats, rally dash cluster, and optional tough steering wheel. It wasn't luxury, it was lean muscle wrapped in a mischievous grin. The beating heart was Chrysler's high-winding 340 Ci small block V8, officially rated at 275 horsepower, but known to be underrated. High compression pistons, a 4-bar carb, and free-flow heads meant it loved to rev. While optional 3.91 or 4.1 gears and the 8833 4-speed made sure every ounce of power reached the pavement. Dodge also fitted heavy-duty suspension and optional front discs, creating a car that could launch hard yet still handle daily driving. Despite being smaller and lesser than Dodge's big block offerings, the Demon 340 routinely stunned rivals. Independent tests recorded quarter-mile times in the mid to low 14s, with some drivers dipping into the high 13s with slicks. Its lighter weight, around 3,100 pounds, meant it punched far above its horsepower rating. In fact, it often embarrassed heavier Chargers and Roadrunners, proving size didn't always equal speed. Production was relatively modest, with about 10,098 Demon 340s built in 1971, making them far rarer than the muscle icons they embarrassed. The demon's blend of affordability, lightweight, and real performance turned it into a cult favorite, but its devilish branding sparked backlash from religious groups, forcing Dodge to retire the name just 2 years later. That controversy only adds to the mystique today, as surviving examples stand as symbols of a wild, unfiltered muscle era when carmakers weren't afraid to provoke. And if Dodge's devil-raised eyebrows with controversy and quarter-mile sting, Plymouth countered with its own streetwise hustlera-stripped featherweight brawler known as the Duster 340. Top 7 1970 Plymouth Duster 340. Cheap, cheerful, and sneaky fast, the Plymouth Duster 340 didn't wear the flashy stripes of a Cuda or the heavyweight reputation of a Roadrunner. But that was its trick. The Duster looked like a bargain compact, then blew the doors off cars twice its price. On the surface, the Duster was nothing more than a redesigned Valiant coupe. Its clean, fastback profile and simple lines hid the fact that it was one of Chrysler's most clever muscle moves of the 1970s. Buyers could option it with Rally wheels, matte black hood treatment, and side stripes, but even in plain trim, it looked like an economy car with a mischievous streak. Inside, Plymouth kept things no frills, bench or optional bucket seats, a straightforward dash, and few luxury touches. But the simplicity was part of the plan. Lightweight body, low cost, and money spent where it mattered, under the hood. The 340 Ci small block V8 packed 275 horsepower, breathing through a 4-barrel carb, high-flow heads and a dual exhaust. Weighing just over 3,200 pounds, the Duster 340 had an excellent power-to-weight ratio. A 4-speed manual with Hurst shifter or torque flight automatic made it flexible for both drag strip launches and daily use. Despite being marketed as an economy muscle car, the Duster 340 consistently shocked bigger, costlier machines. With 3.91 gears and sticky tires, it clocked quarter-mile times in the high 13s, on par with some big block Chevelles and Mustangs. Under the Duster's load base, official labeled 02, production was relatively healthy, with about 24,817 units built for 1970, but survival rates are lower today, making clean examples harder to find. The Duster 3 Portal became one of the ultimate bang-for-buck muscle cars, a car kids could actually afford yet still hold its own at the drags. Today, collectors look back and realize just how undervalued it was compared to flashy siblings. It proved the muscle car revolution wasn't just about cubic inches, it was about clever engineering and packaging. But while Plymouth's lightweight hustler was affordable and fierce, AMC decided to push compact performance even further, creating a small block Hornet with a sting deadlier than anyone expected. Top 8 1971 AMC Hornet SC 360. By 1971, muscle car mania was already fading, and AMC knew it couldn't compete dollar for dollar with Detroit's giants. But instead of surrendering, they pulled one last trick, stuffing a 360 cubic inch V8 into their budget Hornet compact. The result was the SC 360A scrappy underdog that hit way above its weight. The Hornet was AMC's bread-and-butter compact, designed for economy and practicality. But the SC 360 turned that idea on its head. AMC gave it bold stripes, a Ram Air hood scoop, and flashy SC 360 callouts. To the untrained eye, it was just another commuter car dressed up with decals, but that disguise only made it more dangerous. Inside, the SC 360 stayed simple: vinyl buckets, a floor shifter, and the bare essentials. No luxury frills, no heavy options. The whole car weighed in at around 3,100 pounds, making it one of the lightest V8-powered muscle cars of its day. Under the hood sat AMC's 360 Ci V8, rated at 245 horsepower with a 2-barrel car barrel, or a hotter 285 horsepower with the 4-barrel option. Hook it to a 4-speed manual and 3.91 gears, and the SC 360 could run the quarter mile in the mid-14s quick enough to embarrass bigger, more expensive cars. But here's the catch. AMC built only about 784 examples in 1971. That production figure makes the SC 360 of the rarest compact muscle cars of the era. While Chevrolet and Ford cranked out tens of thousands of Camaros and Mustangs, AMC quietly created a street sleeper that most enthusiasts never even saw in person. For years, the SC 360 was overlooked, dismissed as an oddball from a struggling company. But today, its rarity and underdog story give it a cult following. Collectors who once laughed at its bargain basement origins now chase it as one of AMC's most ingenious, lightweight performance cars, a time capsule of scrappy innovation. The 1971 AMC Hornet SC 360 remains a ghost of the drag strip prairie, seen, often underestimated, but unforgettable once it roars. Its legacy isn't just speed, but survival, proof that even in Detroit's darkest days, a small company could build a giant killer in compact disguise. The quarter mile was never just about cubic inches, it was about who could outthink the rules. These lightweight beasts turned the tables, proving that muscle cars didn't need to be massive to be menacing. Today, they stand as proof that innovation and cunning often trumped raw displacement. Which one would you take for a heads-up street showdown? Drop your pick in the comments below, and let's see which lightweight warrior truly wins in your eyes. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, because legendary classic cars is where forgotten legends keep roaring back to life.